The desert remembers things. That's what the old ranchers used to say, especially after storms, especially at night. And in the Arizona territory of the 1880s, there were few stories whispered more carefully than that of the red ghost. Some called it a demon, others believed it was a warning from God, but the men who claimed to have seen it never spoke about it like a ghost story. They spoke about it like they were survivors that talked about wildfires, quietly, like it was something real. The first sightings came after sunset, always after sunset. Travelers moving between camps began reporting something massive crossing the desert ahead of them. At first, they thought it was a horse. Then, they thought it was a bear. But it moved wrong. Too tall, too smooth. And when the moonlight struck it, they saw the hump. The creature was enormous, covered in reddish-brown fur darkened by dust and rain. Its legs moved slightly over the desert floor, while its long neck swayed slowly from side to side like a serpent searching for its prey. But that wasn't the part that people remembered. No. What haunted them was what rode on its back, a human skeleton, strapped tightly to the creature with straps of old leather. Its skull bounced gently against the animal's side as it moved through the darkness. Witnesses said the bones rattled softly at night, like wind chimes. And sometimes, before the thing appeared, they heard hard breathing, deep, wet, labored breathing somewhere beyond the campfire. Then came the smell, rot, wet fur, dust, and finally, the shape emerging from the desert itself. One of the earliest known encounters happened near Eagle Creek. A woman was found dead after something attacked her camp during the night. Neighbors discovered massive tracks surrounding the area the next morning. Her husband reportedly described seeing a gigantic red beast fleeing into the darkness just before dawn. After the panic spread quickly across the territory. Remember, this was the frontier Arizona. No highways, no electric lights, no police nearby, only scattered ranches surrounded by hundreds of miles of open desert. And now something enormous was wandering in it at night and carrying a dead man on its back. People began calling it the Red Ghost. Children were warned not to wander after dark. Travelers started avoiding lonely roads at night. Stories spread from ranch to ranch. Livestock torn apart. Camps destroyed. Eerie cries echoing through the washes. Giant tracks found after storms. Some swore the creature screamed like a human being. Others claimed bullets passed right through it. And many said the same thing. The creature appeared just before storms. Always before storms. But here's the part that makes this the legend truly terrifying. The Red Ghost was probably real. Not supernatural, not entirely. Because years earlier, the United States Army had attempted something almost nobody remembers now. They bought a bunch of camels and brought them into the American Southwest. Real camels. The experiment became known as the United States Camel Corps. Military leaders believed camels would perform better than horses in the desert. And honestly, they did. The animals carried heavier cargo, traveled enormous distances, survived brutal heat, and required less water, but the soldiers hated them. Horses panicked near them, mules refused to work beside them, and the camels themselves could become violent when mistreated. Then the Civil War began. The project collapsed. Some camels were sold, others escaped, and some were simply abandoned in the desert. For years after, settlers reported seeing wild camels roaming between Arizona, Texas, and New Mexico. Imagine that. A frontier rancher seeing a massive, unfamiliar animal wandering through the moonlit dust storms. Many Americans at the time had never seen a camel before. Now imagine seeing one carrying a corpse. According to the most common version of this legend, the skeleton belonged to a cruel camel handler. Some stories claim he abused the animal viciously. Others say he became stranded during a long crossing and died while tied to the camel's saddle. Either way, the man died, but the camel kept walking, dragging the corpse across the desert for years as flesh slowly disappeared beneath the Arizona sun. By the time most witnesses saw it, it was only bones that remained, still strapped to the saddle, still riding the beast. And then came the final encounter. Near the turn of the century, a rancher reportedly discovered the creature feeding peacefully near its property. He raised his rifle and fired. The animal collapsed, and when locals approached the body, they nearly fell to their feet in silence, because lying there in the dust was not a demon, it was not a spirit, not a monster, just an old red camel, and attached to its back, according to the legend, were the weathered straps, still carrying the human remains, and a skeleton still bound to the saddle. Most people stopped talking about the red ghost after that. The mystery had been solved, or at least mostly solved, but old stories have survived in the desert. Even now, ranchers in the parts of Arizona still tell strange stories after storms. Stories about hearing heavy footsteps in empty washes, about hearing strange cries in the darkness, about seeing a tall shape moving slowly through the dust storms in the moonlight. And sometimes, when the moonlight and the thunder rolls across the desert in the late night, people still whisper the same warning passed down from generation to generation. If you hear the bones rattling in the storm, don't follow the sound. Thank you for watching History's Heroes Presents True Legends After Dark. If you liked this episode, please subscribe for the next episode. Thank you. Bye.